Those are the top stories right now from America's news headquarters, but you're going to have to brace yourself for this next story. The U.S. debt level is fast approaching $18 trillion. That is well more than $55,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. And a new report out this week shows that number is only going to get larger. Rich Edson from the Fox Business Network has the details on the latest report from the Congressional Budget Office. Rich?
Well, Leland, it's a familiar debt warning from the Congressional Budget Office. Government officials have just updated the numbers. They're still troubling. The federal government is approaching $18 trillion of debt. That amount will rise gradually over the next decade. Then officials say health care and entitlement costs will push government debt to unsustainable levels. For this fiscal year, the Congressional Budget Office says the federal government will add about $500 billion to the national debt. The amount of debt the public holds will almost hit 3/4 of the size of the U.S. economy, the highest level since 1950, and it's heading to 77% by 2024. That's when the federal government will owe nearly $800 billion annually just on interest payments. And analysts say those numbers are optimistic, as Congress usually adds costly spending and tax benefits. The economist for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce says all this debt will eventually slow economic growth.
By the end of the 10-year period, we are looking at debt levels of close to 77.5% to GDP, and that's an enormously high level. And what that causes in the long run is misallocation of resources, slower productivity growth, slower wage growth, and an economy whose standard of living just doesn't grow as fast.
Driving all this debt, federal entitlement programs. They account for most of the government spending and combined are up 4% this year. Spending on Medicaid, with more enrollees thanks to Obamacare, is up 15%. Social Security costs have risen 5%, Medicare is up 2%. The Congressional Budget Office says costs for the federal health programs will rise 85% in the next decade. Leland?
Rich Edson from the Fox Business Network. Thanks, Rich. And we've got some more good financial news for you. Not really. It's more bad news. Gas prices are about to soar in one state. You're going to find out who's about to pay a whole lot more at the pump. And this is probably more important, why they're going to, coming up next.